That's what we were talking about. He seems to do that a lot. Where like, well, you said it on the show. If he's not walking 1,000 guys,
And no one's gonna touch. Like his stuff is obviously so good that like if he's not walking people, people aren't doing anything else.
right? We have
Proud of that one from
as the highest top stack probability.
What'd you say?
We have the Phillies with the highest top stack percentage.
I have them second, 0.4% behind the Royals, but yeah, they look good.
For a 13-game slate, that's surprise against Ronaldo Lopez. Interesting.
Not bad. It's not bad.
No, I'm just saying Lopez isn't bad either.
No.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Stochastic MLB Strategy Show. 13-game Tuesday. Felt like we kind of got lucky last week. Had 8 games on Friday. You know, this week it's Monday. We had 9 games. Pretty easy going slate. Not so much today. 13 games. By the way, not a single team with a total of 5 or higher.
Basically,
you may have one at like 5 or whatever, but
nothing high. The highest I have of anybody, I have the Giants and the Royals at 5.1. So we're talking about the same thing. It's in and around 5. No one in the mid 5s or higher. There's no 6.5 cores game or anything like that.
Wow. Cole Reagan's against the Angels.
Yeah, I already bet his under.
Yeah,
I did.
Strikeouts.
Yeah.
Well, happy to have you guys with us. If you don't mind, take a second to atone for your sins this morning. Hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. If you want to listen to anything in podcast form, we're out there as well. Apple Podcast, Spotify, wherever that may be. Man, I've been doing some deep dives into this is crazy.
Oh boy.
Just, humor me for a moment.
I always do.
How certain countries went from incredible economic growth and prosperity to just being absolute shit places to live.
Do you have an example?
I found this. Venezuela specifically. Haiti's a tough one. They were never really, because they were just, by the way,
thinking of, I thought Venezuela was like thriving now, or am I thinking of the wrong country?
No,
are they the ones that locked up every one of their criminals? Or am I thinking of the wrong country?
El Salvador. That dude's awesome. That dude's wild. He went out and was like, okay.
Same place in my head.
Well, Venezuela was the 4th largest economy and the 4th richest country in the world not long ago. Like, that's crazy. And then they resorted to eating zoo animals. I mean, that's crazy stuff.
Depends on the animal, though, right?
What's that?
Depends on the animal.
I mean, I suppose it's still, you're in dire straits when you're doing something like that.
What is when you say zoo animal, what is the prototypical zoo animal to you?
Well, when I think of zoo animal, I'm thinking like a giraffe, or a.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So something super edible.
Yeah. I mean, and lots of meat, but you need.
I bet the neck meat is.
You need a lot of cold storage for that, unless it's just a whole village going to town.
Yeah.
But yeah, Zimbabwe.
Giraffe neck, man.
I'm sure it'd be good.
Yeah.
But I came across this video on Turkmenistan. All
right, hit me with it, Ben.
What an insane country. First of all, you're only allowed to have white cars in Turkmenistan. Okay. Their former president got rid of all colored cars. I believe you might be able to have like silver and gold. They make their doctors during the harvest season, they make their doctors and nurses and teachers and like government employees go out into the field and pick cotton every day. And they have to meet a quota. I'm talking like, dude, you're highest of their society, many of the highest of their society. And if they don't meet their quota, they get punished. They potentially lose their jobs. It's They just got all of their resources siphoned off, natural gas, everything. So like they had all these resources. Can you hear me? It said my connection's unstable.
You paused for a second. Okay. You're good now.
So they just had everything like essentially destroyed. But they said it is a less free country than North Korea and like Eritrea. That's how, and no one knows about this place.
Turkmenistan, you said?
Turkmenistan, it's in Asia.
I'm
Crazy.
aware. I didn't think that it was in South America.
Okay.
I know where the stands are, man.
Yeah, true, true. But they're also like, they care immensely about world records. So they have the world's largest indoor Ferris wheel, the world's tallest flagpole, the world's longest staircase. Like,
That's a lot of shit nobody gives a fuck about, man.
But doesn't this just seem like a made up country? Oh, here's the best part. Then we can talk baseball. Just you. All right. So their former president just went full out loony. He wrote this book called like the Hermeran or something. I forget what it was called. He wrote this book and essentially like replaced all religion. If you went into a mosque, his book would be next to it. You had to study his book. If you went into a church, his book. If you wanted to go in and get a job or a driver's license, you wouldn't have to know how to drive or the rules of the road. You would have had to have studied and word for word known about his book. He shot his book into orbit so it could conquer space. This is like the most cartoonish dictatorship you'll ever hear about in your life.
It sounds like L. Ron Hubbard was born in Turkmenistan.
Right? But it's real. It happened. Man, we're so lucky to live in this country, and fuck anybody who says differently.
Oh, look, we sensationalize it so much. There's never been a better time to be here than this moment right now, today. Like, and it's not close. It's not even remotely close. So we do, look, what we do, and you know this, and it's unfortunate, we don't change the way we feel about whatever we think is the biggest problem, but our problems are so much lower now that what we think is a problem, we treat disproportionately of what it should have been when it wasn't a problem.
Yeah, of course.
It's
like we're not dealing with the Black Death or medieval devices.
Not even like we're going to have a cold winter.
Yeah, right.
Like little shit like that.
We might lose
like
20%.
I understand that people like acquiring food in lower income communities is a problem. I'm not trying to say that that doesn't exist, but like we don't run into November thinking like we got a ration.
I know.
It's just like we got to remember our pronouns.
It's a crazy time we live in.
And you're just like, we're doing it all wrong. We're doing it all wrong. Yep. We should wake up every morning like, yo, we live in the coolest time in the history. We can do whatever we want, whenever we want, essentially. I have
central air and running water and a toilet. 48.
Yeah. 48, I don't walk out the back door to shit in my yard.
Yeah.
Which was 120 years ago. Less than that for large swaths. I mean, who was it? It was Shannon Sharp, who was like, I didn't use a real toilet till I went to college.
Yeah.
And he's a wide receiver or a tight end in the 90s.
Times have changed, man.
They had an outhouse.
Times have changed. Man. All right.
Yeah, like imagine how bad it would have been if I shit my pants before I got to the outhouse and I just had to go wash off in the river. It's so much easier to use the warm water coming out of the wall.
Come up with some leeches.
Yeah. Yeah. Nah, when you go to the doctor, you don't feel good. They're not like, all right, go get the leeches. We're going to draw your blood out with these animals.
We're more fortunate than we could ever imagine.
Like, yeah. I mean, even like Game of Thrones, when Aegon gets burned, they're wrapping him in like cabbage leaves and shit. Putting fish scales on him.
Yeah, medical advancements, everything. Like we're anyway. I thought you'd find some of that. These places are wild.
I know very little about that area for obvious reasons, but I think I've definitely brought this up on the show before. My best man in my wedding, his sister worked for Shell. No, BP. BP had the big spill, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they worked for BP.
Deepwater Horizon.
Her and her husband and their family lived in Azerbaijan on like a base basically for, I don't know, probably 10 years. which is, essentially next to Turkmenistan. I don't know much about, but like, they had to have a driver at all times. Like, if you wanted to go anywhere outside of like your designated area, you really had to plan accordingly and like get proper government officials involved to like do
Not
whatever
us.
you're trying to do.
We can just cross state lines. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's bonkers.
All right. Well, happy to have you guys with us. For those of you complaining, it's August 20th. All right. It's August 20th. I got nothing else to tell you. My mind's been elsewhere lately. Once I'm locked in, we're here. But, you got to find a way to entertain myself sometimes.
I need the entertainment. Every other day when I don't have entertainment, everything sucks. I need the entertainment to get my mind off of garbage.
For sure. Yeah, check out Turkmenistan. What a place.
I'm gonna let you know right now, I will never check it out.
Well, I basically just gave you all the interesting stuff.
Informationally, I will be happy to check it out. I can confidently say my feet will never be on that ground.
Oh, of course. It's like the third least visited place in the world. I wonder why.
It doesn't, like, I don't need to be the new Brittany Griner, man, where I find out I had a vape pen in my suitcase and I didn't know, and they keep me forever.
You do not want, no.
I don't want to be out there picking crops with doctors and stuff.
You disappear out there for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Toss me in a well. I'll be gone.
You'll be gone.
That whole area, man, it's weird. It's like, you don't think about it, but that's where like everything started.
There's a huge hole that's been on fire for 50 years there because they thought like someone screwed up and there was like natural gas resources down there. And they thought like, well, let's just burn it out.
Oh, so we got a lot in common with them.
So they lit a bigger fire.
They've got a Centralia as well.
Yeah. 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 It's a huge, it's like the devil. They call it like Hell's Gate or something, but there's a couple of those. All right. Zach Wheeler. I want to list off some of the guys up top.
Okay.
I'm really blown away by the top heavy ownership going to 3 guys. Really surprised me. We have 26 pitchers on this slate, and 3 of them are getting, let's say, 25 or more %. And then everybody else is pretty much just like evenly distributed to, pretty, this is bizarre. You have Zach Wheeler against Atlanta, 30%. Cole Reagans against the Angels, 29%. Robbie Ray against the White Sox, 25%. And then it's kind of like, all right, well, what do we do next? Because Louis Seal is a good pitcher, but he's got the Cleveland Guardians. That's not exactly a great matchup today.
No, I had a lot of trouble. There's a couple guys in spots where like I thought their strikeout prop in the market was like a full strikeout ahead of me. And I looked at it and it was like, oh, they're facing these teams that don't strike out. I'm really curious to see where those lines end up going. And Luis Gil is the perfect example of that at 9K. I mean, big time strikeout stuff, has no problem getting it, but he is rolling into basically the worst strikeout matchup that you're going to find. A lot of dudes that just simply do not strike out. And that is aggressively limiting his projection, particularly around guys priced in his same area. Like, I've got him 4 points behind Zach Wheeler because, while the Braves might be a little bit more talented as a lineup, they're actually not to me. I think they're worse than Cleveland now just based on who's still healthy, but there's so many more strikeouts in this Atlanta lineup, and it completely changes the scope. There's just, Luis Gil is terrifying today.
You're right, though. I mean, this Atlanta team is not the same as it was before.
No.
Who did they just lose? Riley? Who did they just lose?
Riley. They signed Urshela.
Okay, which...
So, like, a bit of a drop.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, they're missing, like, their 3 best players and their best pitcher? I mean, they're decimated.
Isn't this kind of amazing, though? You take their active roster, so it has the 6th, basically tied for the 4th highest K rate.
Yeah.
Okay, versus righties. WRC plus on the active roster right now is 99, Josh. That's 20. Yeah. 99.
They're patching it together best they can.
And quite frankly, they're doing better than most teams would with the casualties they suffered throughout the season. But still, this is, I think it's actually fair to say right now that Atlanta, at least for good pitchers, is is it an average to slightly based on K rate above average matchup?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why I think Wheeler looks as good as he does. I don't have my my sim or anything done yet. I'm finishing it up all right now. But I anticipate having quite a bit of Zach Wheeler and none of Luis Heel.
What about Reagan's?
He's a dude I never get to ever, ever, ever. And today is going to be the exact same scenario, is my expectation. Like, there's something about it that he's just not a dude that I ever get to.
He's a very good pitcher, though.
He's fantastic. I would really prefer to have him than not have him. But it's every week, man. Every single week that goes by.
I do find it funny, though, this Angels team, and yes, we're using active roster here, so not just where they've been out on the season. They're not bad against lefties. At least they don't walk a lot, but 22nd in K rate, 116 WRC plus is 5th. 335 WOBA is 6th. Pretty incredible when you look at the disparity between them between lefties and righties with this Angels team. They have been a lot better. Now Reagan's can obviously go out there and light them up, right?
Tough 30% K rate against righties.
Exactly. Tough matchup last time out against Minnesota. We talked about it. He dominated. So he can, that's not really the thing, but it isn't also the best matchup, even though it looks pretty good when you see that Angels name come up.
But like, he's 25% owned. I have his implied ownership at 15, and that's every day that he pitches. Dude, and I don't know why.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say this is the worst slate for pitching relative to size, maybe, that we've seen all season.
It kind of feels that way.
Relative to the size of the slate.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's Reagan's. Like, I'm willing to be wrong on Reagan's and at least say, like, there's a reason he's 9,500 and I get it. Like, whether I like him today at that price in comparison to other guys is sort of a different question. But, you know, it's Reagan's, it's Wheeler, it's Ray. And then there's not another name on here where you're like, all right, that's a priority. I mean, we have like 15 dudes projected between 5 and 9% ownership.
Yeah. And, you know, maybe in another world a few years ago, Walker Buehler would have looked fantastic today, but he's just been awful.
It's even like guys in different, like, Bailey Ober's been great. He's going really deep into games. His strikeout rate is certainly above average. Bailey Ober's projected for 7% ownership at 8,400 today. Like, he's just an afterthought.
Yeah, that matchup against San
But like,
Diego.
you take that game and put it on yesterday's slate, and Bailey Ober is like, oh, he can go that deep? Like, okay. Even in a matchup, a shitty matchup against the Padres, like, how deep can he go?
He has been excellent.
He's averaging like 18 and a half outs a start.
He's been excellent. I mean, Bailey Ober over the last couple of months. Yeah, actually, that'd be perfect because on the 16th, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So last 10 starts, last 2 months, he has to be one of the 10 best pitchers in baseball.
It seems it. It seems like everything is going correct for him.
From a DFS perspective, I would actually guarantee it. I haven't looked, but I would guarantee he's been a honestly, top 5 pitcher.
I mean, when you're going, 7 innings every single time you get out there, basically, like, by default, you're probably not getting bombed. You're probably getting in and around 20 fantasy points every night. Like, that is an absolute victory.
Hold on.
You trying to find that out?
Yeah.
Smart.
I'm just curious. I don't know. For some reason, StatMuse doesn't work with this query. Like, it won't just give you pictures when you. Yeah.
I've never really used it.
It's fun. It's helpful, but no. He's just been, maybe we should be looking at him more today.
I would like to, but I mean, this goes right into the Luis Heel thing, where we're basically negating a really good pitcher because they have one of like the 3 or 4 worst matchups you can get to.
But at the same time, though, Robbie Ray's a roller coaster ride of production. Like you could, and by the way,
Yeah, but the problem is he's at home facing the White Sox with the lowest implied total on today's slate. And it's just like, well,
listen,
shit, he's getting the opposite of all of this.
I totally get that. It's a great spot, but he couldn't get out of the first inning last time. Verse righties, lowest K rates, active roster. Padres, Nats, Cleveland, Houston, Kansas City, which is funny because 2 starts ago, Bailey Ober went 6 scoreless with 9 Ks against the Guardians.
Yeah, like if he can do that, you probably want him in just about every other spot.
I mean, you really may just have to bite the bullet and play some Bailey Ober today with how good he's been.
I would not be mad if I see him here, but I'm not playing a lot tonight. I'm playing the immaculate inning, the 111. So I'll probably have like, around 10 lineups or something like that. So I'll have a different like vibe of everything I'm doing, but which makes me think I won't get to him as much as I would if I were, in the large field contest.
I mean, you have to consider guys like Joey Estes today, I think.
Oof.
You have to consider guys like Shane Baz even. Now, when I say consider, these guys are all like 5 to 8% owned. But this Tampa team's just bad right now. They really are. They're top 3 in K rate, 89 WRC plus. That's 3rd worst in baseball versus righties behind the Angels and the White Sox. I mean, I could go down the list of why somebody like Joey Estes at $6,300 is viable today. I could tell you why he's not great too, but you already know those answers, right? He's also been really good at home, done a phenomenal job at limiting base runners at home. So, I think you have to consider a guy like Joey Estes today.
For reference, I do not have Estes or Ober in my 10 lineup sample, but I'm also not surprised by that. Right. I wouldn't mind, like, I don't know. Estes is a weird guy. He's sort of like the shitty version of Cole Reagans. I've noticed that, like, he's a guy that just ends up never showing up for me. But he's certainly in that like 5 to 10% range where if that's the guy you want to get to, I get it. There's a ton of strikeouts in the Tampa lineup.
Would you play someone like Davis Martin against San Francisco?
I would not.
You know who's been stellar is Martin Perez since he came over to San Diego.
Yeah, boy.
He's been good. And the strikeouts, I don't know what's gotten into the fella. Granted, he's had some nice matchups, but he's punching guys out.
I think he's going to run into some failures today.
I think it's very possible. It's not the best matchup against Minnesota. I got to throw everybody out there, though, because this is one of those nights. This is one of those slates that's just odd. By the way, only a 4.2 run implied totals for Minnesota, so it's not that high.
Did I paste this shit in incorrectly? If I did, that would make some sense. If I didn't, then I think our top stacks tool is very wrong. Yeah, it's very wrong. We have Minnesota 5th in top stack. That is not possible. They are not 5th in top stack with a 4-run implied total. I have them 20th for reference.
We have them 9th in total and 5th in top stack. Yeah.
Yeah, that's too high. I just noticed it now. I looked at the numbers. I was like, something's incorrect.
But this is okay. What about Javier Assad?
I have a share of him. That dude's a problem for me today.
What do you mean?
So when I was setting up my model this morning, I'm a bit higher on Assad's strikeout prop. I think I already popped his over in the strikeout prop department, but I love the spot against the Tigers. I'm not like a big Javier Assad guy. He is in one of my lineups right now. It's just a really good spot against the Tigers. They're just not good.
Yeah,
they have one of
Yeah.
I mean, they have what, the second worst implied total on the slate behind the White Sox?
Correct.
I didn't look at the wind in wait, where's the game? It's in Detroit, isn't it? No, it's in Chicago. I didn't look at the wind in Chicago right now, but that is one spot where wind matters.
Winds in
Oh,
from left center at 10 miles per hour.
yeah, 68 degrees.
Yo, it's great here today. High of 71.
Oh, dude, I was checking out the weather for what I'm gonna get from tomorrow through Sunday.
Perfect.
Oh, gonna be amazing.
Oh,
Yesterday I went on my walk, it was like 97 degrees. I was like, I'll
Are
die
you talking down there or when you come back up north?
when I come up with the PA tomorrow.
It's this whole week's gonna be beautiful. Yeah.
I know. I saw no rain and like highs of 72.
Perfect. Yeah, it's perfect. With a nice crisp wind.
Oh, it's gonna be
Breeze,
well. I don't need the wind. That's gonna make my disc golf performance a lot worse. But
It's a breeze.
you want to go play disc golf this weekend?
No.
No, it's fun. I'll come to you. We can go to the lake.
Maybe one day.
It's so much fun. I think you'd like it.
I played it before.
You get out, walk around, fling some frisbees for the lay person.
I mean, look, I like being out in nature. I'm not opposed to it.
I went and played yesterday again.
Nice.
Oh,
Yeah,
terrible, dude. I played like shit. I thought about holding my own head underwater in the river. It was bad.
Give yourself some Turkmenistan torture treatment.
I was very angry yesterday. I wore a lot of bug spray though, so I didn't get bit. I'm still working back off of the lesions that are all over my arm.
Let's do this.
Let's do it.
All of these pictures that we have down here.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Give me a second. 6, 7, 8.
You got to take your shoes and socks off to get up over 5.
We have 21 pitchers at 7% or less ownership.
That's
21.
a lot.
That's crazy. So with that in mind, I'm not going to ask you which ones you're writing off because that's a much easier. That'll take much longer is what I should say. Because you just have to go through all the names. Which one should we be considering? Because obviously Wheeler and Reagans, and Ray scares me in any matchup. That's just the way it is. He does, but it's a good spot. You mentioned it. Lowest total on the slate for the White Sox. Best park in baseball for pitching. Pitcher friendly across the board, power perspective, everything. All of that looks good. The Louis Heel ownership surprises me. I really don't love that spot for him at all. Which guys can we be, or should we at least be considering down here? Because Pavetta's got Houston. Ober has San Diego. I still think he's been good enough to where he needs to be, in the conversation. Quintana has Baltimore. I could go down the list. Walker Buehler's got a good spot, but he's just been so bad this year. Which of these guys should we be looking at?
Like I said, I have 10 lineups that are going to go into the immaculate inning. It's like a 5,000 lineup contest. So for perspective, like Robbie Ray is probably going to be 35% owned in that instead of, mid to high 20s. I have 60% Robbie Ray, so he's in 6 of 10. Wheeler in 4 of 10. Reagans in 3 of 10. Cody Bradford in 2 of 10. Probably the next guy that we should talk about since we haven't. But
the reason I didn't yet is because he's the only guy that's in that basic, other than Louis Hill, lower than 20, but higher than that 7 range. He's kind of on a bit of an island. So go ahead.
Yeah. So Ray, Wheeler, Reagans, Bradford. The only 4 guys that I have in more than one lineup.
All right.
And just looking at it, Ray, Wheeler, Reagans, I don't anticipate changing all that much. I think I have at least 2 of each of those guys or more, even when we get to lock. I can certainly see all of the little pieces that I have of people moving around. But yeah, I mean, I think Bradford is probably the guy to talk about here. Pirates certainly have some strikeouts in their lineup. They're not a good offense. They've got a pretty low implied total for what we're getting today. Bradford is, I don't know, a guy, I guess. I mean, like not anybody that I'm super excited to see. 24% K rate against righties, 19 against lefties, somewhere in that neighborhood. I just like the spot.
Pittsburgh against lefties too is a top 5K, fifth highest strikeout rate, but also fifth lowest walk rate.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's helpful.
They've been fine as a whole. Oh shit. They have a 96 WRC plus active roster against lefties. So they like the performance hasn't been really bad, but in terms of trying to get like an optimal fantasy score,
exactly,
he is in a good spot.
Right. That's what it comes down to. He's in the type of, he's in the, and I'm talking about for him, but he's kind of in a ceiling game matchup because they do have a lot of strikeouts. They don't walk.
Yeah.
So if he's sharp, I mean, very similar actually, yes, to what we were talking about with Joe Boyle yesterday.
Who was very right on that one? You and me, brother.
He ended up having a phenomenal game. 6
Yeah, we talked that whole thing into existence. I hope people were on that.
For sure. 6 Ks. Heck of a game.
You know what his next start's going to look like, though?
He's going to get blown up. Yeah.
Well, he's just going to walk 7 dudes.
Yeah. But that's the thing is if he shot and he walked 3, but he still really great game.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it actually yesterday when I was looking at these. When we were building out lineups in the single lineup sim, the one thing that you and I kept doing was going 2 cheap pitchers and seeing how it played out.
Yeah.
That was clearly the move. Like Boyle, Gavin Stone, Peterson, all of those guys were excellent yesterday.
I mean, it's what you needed.
Yeah. It's exactly what you needed. Kikuchi was fine, but he had fewer points than all of those guys, all of them. Kevin Gossman ended up finishing with 11. Who was the other guy on that? Who was the other one? Help me out here. I'm trying to think who it was.
Chat's going to have to help you out.
Michael King.
Garbage.
He had 20. Michael King had 21. So like the 2 mid-range, you could almost say discount pitchers. Getting 2 of them was clearly the move yesterday if you were trying to maximize production at pitching.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull it up now and look at it. I mean, Stone went crazy to close out the night.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, Stone Boyle is the nut combo from yesterday. Not even close. I mean, Lugo beat Boyle, but he only did it by a fantasy point, and it cost you an extra 2,500 to do it. So Stone Boyle was the combo.
Is that how much Lugo was yesterday?
Lugo is 95. Stone, 7,500, 37 points. Joe Boyle, 7K, 26. Peterson, 7,300, 23. Harrison, 7,900, 21. 4 dudes in the 7Ks went 20 plus yesterday.
Wow. So basically, you got like 64 or so, 65. I'm just in my head, combined DraftKings points from Boyle and Stone at 14,500 combined salary.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so good.
Maybe it can be done again today, but I think it will be a little bit more difficult to get away from one of the Wheeler or Reagan spots. I don't think there's nearly as many good mid-range spots on this slate is what I'm saying. I don't hate Baz. Maybe Buehler.
I think there's a lot of mid-range spots. Like you can kind of pick 12 different dudes in that. Like whether you want it to be Bradford, Fede, Quintana, Assad. I mean, Nick Pivetta is sitting in the middle at 7,800. We know he has real stuff, but he faces the Astros. Like there's that whole center area of this is just inundated with 5% dudes.
And even sub 7K. I mean, you mentioned Assad, but I don't like this spot for Perez, but he's been excellent lately.
Yeah.
Joey Estes against Tampa Bay is 6,300.
We don't know what Matt Boyd really is at this point in time, but I don't want to find out against the Yankees.
Me neither. Yeah, the Rays implied total today is what? 4-2?
It's not high.
No.
I have the Rays aggregate WOBA projected from Steamer 1,000th of a point. I have the Rays at 308 WOBA as a team today. I have the A's at 309. That's how bad the Rays are right now.
Yeah. You said the Rays, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Rays are really struggling and they're striking out a ton.
Yeah. Which, you look at that and you're like, all right, well, maybe I do need to go to Joey Estes.
So let's say you are playing a lot of lineups. Do you think it makes, I do personally, but I'll ask you, do you think it makes sense to just mix and match these like 5 to 8% guys that are in that 6 to 7K range?
I think so. Yeah. I don't have anybody below Bailey Ober at 10% implied ownership or higher.
I just think it's tough to take a firm stand on one of those guys and adequately back it up as why like he's better by a mile than all of these other guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, like just looking at this run of projections I have from Fede to Quintana, 14.8, 14.6, 14.5, 15.4, 15.5, 14.9, 14.8. That's 7 dudes within a fantasy point of each other, all within $700 of each other. They're all the exact same guy.
Yeah, exactly. Steven Leibowitz put it perfectly. He said there are a lot of them and someone's going to get there for sure. We know that, and we hope we throw the right dart. Kind of, yeah. I mean,
it's what's making me really like the top.
Yeah. Until 2 of those mid-range guys get there.
Oh, sure. But like you look at Robbie Ray and it's like, yeah, I get why he's getting that ownership. He faces the shitty White Sox in the best possible spot that he could be in. Like everything just points to him. I won't be surprised if he's like 45 to 50% owned in smaller field stuff.
Me neither. But I mean, me neither. The funny thing to me is Cody Bradford's getting the most ownership of any of the guys that are, sub 9K, not named Robbie Ray.
Yeah, and it's like 10%. It's like insignificant.
Exactly. So you want to be like, well, yeah, but how much better is he than Baz here? How much better is he than Estes at that price and all that? It's like, yeah, sure, but they're all basically the same. Like you just lump him into the same ownership as those guys. What difference does 6 and 9.5% make?
Nothing. Essentially nothing.
Yeah. I don't remember seeing anything like this in a long time where it's
pretty crummy.
3 guys up top and 23 other guys in the exact same bucket. Now, granted, there's probably like 7 or 8, 5 or 6 guys that are just ignorable, but dude, it's crazy. And it's going to end up being like Frankie Montas or something that ends up having the monster game.
Dean Kramer, Davis Martin.
Yeah, right. I don't think you have to get too crazy though,
No, not at all. I'm happy with what I see on the pitching side. Hitting the different question.
All right. Obi-Wan said, any love for Montas or Boyd? I mean, as much love as you could have for some of those guys on a slate like this, Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is no, but nobody else stands out to the point where you're like, hey, those guys can't be touched.
I don't like this slate.
No.
Boyd's I would like it to go away.
I know Boyd had a great start. What was it, last week?
Yeah.
Coming off the Tommy John surgery, but still, that's the Cubs. He has the Yankees today. I mean, you're getting tossed into the fire. What's the Yankees total? Only 4.8.
Yeah.
I'd probably rather go Montas over Boyd, but no, I don't love either of them.
I bet Judge to homer. Really went out on a limb.
Yeah, would you get it like plus 250?
I think I think it's a little bit better than that. Let me look.
280.
It's in my mind, it's 270 or 275. Let me log in and see. Whatever it was, I was like, oh, that's really not that bad for this. Nope. It was worse. I was thinking of Brandon Lau. 235.
Okay, I said 250. Close.
Yeah.
We had a question a minute ago. How do I get the stochastic avatar? I thought you'd never ask, fella. Very simple, stochastic.com/HOF. Yeah. Go ahead, download one of those beautiful 6 avatars, right? Use them wherever it is you play, DraftKings, FanDuel, wherever it may be. And finish top 3 in a field of 5,000 or more. Tweet us your wins. It's stochastic HOF or on X. Post us your wins. That just sounds weird. On X. Get a free month, $200 value. All of our tools for whatever sport you want. Like you want to wait for football, you got it. You want to do baseball, you still got another good month left. So you want a month of that, you're in. Win a second time in a calendar year. We just revamped this in a huge way. So it's you won't find a better program, I guarantee it, for any other site than this for DFS. That's fair to say, right? I don't think there is a single comparable with the way we've revamped this. I don't think anything's even comparable.
No, we're crushing it. It's everybody get in right now.
Second time, another free month plus a free week of another sport. So say like football and basketball are going on, you get it. Oh, sweet. All right, I get another month, $200 value. Oh, wait, I get to try a week of our NBA Sims package, everything for free. Huh. Gold, all access for the entire month, $50K. And of course, the custom engraved ring and the spinning display case to commemorate your win, anything above 20K. So a lot of reasons to rock that stochastic avatar right now for sure. And if you just want to check the tools out themselves for a week or a month, link is in the description and in the chat. Whatever, we have a bunch of different levels of subscriptions and packages. So no matter what style of play you have, no matter what your bankroll or your wallet looks like, we've got you covered. And our Discord will help you out with any questions you have. I'm happy to as well. Just hit me up on Twitter or in Discord. All right. Let's talk some stacks here. How weird is this slate from a hitting perspective too? Like, because let me put it to you this way. There's so many spots. So you're looking at these like pitchers between 3 and 8%, and not so many of them don't look good, but it's not as if the offenses opposing them look great either. Right?
I mean, do you want to hear the stacks that I have right now?
Sure.
Number 1 is the Tigers.
Okay.
That's what I'm looking at, because hitting feels like pitching. You know what number 2? Well, tied for 3 is the White Sox. I also have the Pirates. Apparently, I'm looking at the slate like I'm going to take those good pitchers and then I'm going to play them with every single piece of shit offense that exists.
You know, it's one I think looks quite decent, though.
I hope you name a team that I have.
My guess is I won't, because I don't have it in any of my Sims runs, but I like to talk about this stuff. The Seattle Mariners.
Not a single share.
I figured, but I wonder how much of this is projections not really accounting for the Walker Buehler we've seen this year. He's been bad. And but he has a 6.28 FIP, a 5.06 xERA. His K rate is at 18%, by far the lowest of his career. 23% home run to fly ball rate, a 2.45 home runs per 9. His swinging strike rate is 7%, dude. He has a career 11.5 swinging strike rate. It's at 7%. So I don't know. He has a 20% outside swing rate. So the chase rate is 20%. And they're making way more contact on pitches outside of the zone than ever before. I cannot find a single silver lining statistic on Walker Buehler right now, unless you want to say, well, hey, he has a 4.54 xFIP. So that's better than his 5.58 ERA.
I mean, I think the question is just like, how real are his results from this year in comparison to what he was?
Well, a guy coming back from a significant injury, we've seen that with a lot of guys. Carlos Rodon's a good example of somebody that really struggled with returning from injury. A lot of these guys just struggle. And the funny thing is, a lot of them like struggle almost the whole season upon returning, and then they come back the next year and they're back to their former selves. So if the question is that, I can't answer that, because I don't actually think it's quantifiable. But right, how do you? We can only say one of two things. Hey, he's been pretty good in the past, and he's been horrible this year, returning from an injury where he hasn't pitched since 2022.
2021, Walker Buehler.
Dominant.
Threw his slider 7% of the time. 2022, Walker Buehler threw his slider 5% of the time. This season, in 600 pitches or whatever, 19%. Let's look at a different pitch. 44% fastballs 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 21. 34 the next year, down 10%. This year, 28.5. Strikes me as a guy that doesn't have the confidence in his fastball, throwing a lot less, and trying to hope that people are chasing a slider and probably leaving them in the zone more than he wants to, resulting in a crisp 192x ISO, 433 real WOBA to lefties. He's got a 201x ISO to righties this season. Something's different. The velocity numbers are all the same. Like, none of that shit moved, but his pitch mix is dramatically different.
Makes you wonder.
So I understand why you would be wanting to go to the Mariners. I will also say that I am higher on the Mariners as a stack in my top stack odds than we are, but that did not result in me getting anything from Seattle.
Talking about this fastball real quick. What do you think his ISO is? What do you think lefty's ISO against this fastball this year?
I mean, it's probably only like 20 pitches, so you're probably going to tell me either 0 or 400.
127 pitches.
It's either incredibly low or stupid high.
462.
Stupid high it is.
Yep. Well, I'm kind of speaking to what you were talking about before, but his fastball. Wow. So he has thrown more sliders to righties than fastballs this year. What?
Okay, so I do find this to be interesting.
Well, hold on real quick. Righties are killing he has 462 ISO against lefties and righties on the fastball, on the four seam.
Yeah, the power is definitely a problem. 2021 and 22, if you add them both together, 6.9% swinging strike rate on that fastball. So that was never like an out pitch for him, which I think is interesting.
Yeah.
It makes me feel a little bit, but now it's getting hit, which isn't ideal. Although 180x ISO on that fastball against lefties for Buehler in that run, he doesn't get swinging strikes on that fastball. He did give it up for power even in his best days. And it's the same for righties. I mean, he had a 224x ISO on that fastball to righties in the 2 years where he was awesome.
Right. That's a good point.
All of this is making me like Seattle more, is what I'm trying to say.
He has issues with power, and he's not himself right now. I think you're right. He's not confident in that fastball. The fact that his primary pitch has been slider to righties, now it makes sense. Now it makes sense why you're not getting any swings out of the zone.
Well, here it is. 13.8% swinging strike rate across 21 and 22 against righties. Every pitch, just against righties, 13 and change. Really good. This season against righties, 6.5. It's half.
Do you realize how bad a 6.5% swinging strike rate is?
It feels like me and Babe Ruth.
To same-handed pitching, no less.
It's atrocious. I mean, obviously you and I are both looking at Add More Funds right now.
Correct.
It looks like the whole screen's covered in blood. The whole damn thing's red. It's like, oh, great. He didn't give up any power on the 2 changeups he threw to righties, so it's green.
It's bad.
So, oh, sorry. My apologies. I don't want anybody to misunderstand the data. It's 1 changeup.
Is that what it is? 1? Yeah.
He's thrown 1 changeup. He did not give up a hit on it.
No, he's been pretty god awful, for being honest here. It's not good. Anyway, figured we'd toss it out there. I have some interest in Seattle. Jordan, are we getting any Seattle in this run? It looks like we aren't. Basically none. He's just been so bad.
Yeah. I'm Team Seattle with you now.
Yeah. I could tell you this. I'm pretty confidently, even if I'm not Team Seattle, I am certainly not Team Buehler today.
I have a share of him. I would really like that to flip and have a Mariner stack and not Buehler. Everything we just looked at, I am incredibly not confident in.
For what it's worth, if you had 1 or 2 shares of Buehler, it's kind of whatever, because if there was ever a time to play a little bit of him, it would be on this slate where there's just no definitively good options, right?
I mean, his strikeout rate is down 10%.
Yeah.
From where he was. 18 now. He was 27, 28 for like 5 years.
Yeah. It doesn't make much sense. The injury, clearly, like, I bet, you and I talk about this next year, we might be looking and going, hey, Walker Buehler looks great again. You never know. It's very possible.
I just can't seem to feel like in the data itself, like nothing's really weird. It's just everything is worse.
Right.
Like none of the velocity numbers, like if his velocity was 1.5 miles per hour lower, you'd be like, oh, okay, that makes a bunch of sense. Like he's clearly that. No, the velocity's there. Nothing's changed in that regard.
No,
65% contact outside the zone.
Yeah, and look at his chase rate. Look at his swings on pitches.
And it used to be 55. Like that right there. Contact outside of the zone.
Yeah.
If you're going to be able to get hit on your misses, that's a problem. But people are swinging outside of the zone like 10% less than they were before.
Exactly. You're swinging 10% less and making contact 10% more.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not good.
Because like it's not like he's getting squared up in any sort of major way. Like, the barrel rate is up a little bit this year, but I mean, nothing as dramatic. The hard contact rate, like he bounced around between like 25 to 35. It's at 35 now. It's like nothing super crazy in any of that. It's just whatever he's putting out there. That shit ain't working.
8% barrel rate's really not crazy. No. All right, let's build a lineup. What do you say?
Let's do it.
Do we want to do it?
I assume I know where we're going here.
My guess is Seattle doesn't grade out well, but I wouldn't mind trying it anyway.
Yeah, we gotta.
Right?
We gotta.
All right. Let's do it.
They're not that expensive. They're not the best stack like construction in the world, but there's something here.
Yeah. I mean, really, you look at top stack odds and what's the difference between their 3.8 and like a 4.4 for Tampa, right?
This is interesting and something I didn't expect for not having them. 5-man Seattle stacks are the second most abundant 5-man stack that I have in my lineup pool.
Really?
Only behind Kansas City. Yeah. I didn't get one, which is really wild to me.
So are you suggesting that 5-man Seattle stacks would be the second most popular stacks on this slate?
No, that was just how I evaluated them. Like when I built my pool of lineups, giant, multiple thousands worth of lineups, and then whittled that down. Seattle started to congregate in like lineups that came to the top. So I'm intrigued.
Let's try it. What's their value score in the top stacks tool?
We have them 16th at 2.7%. I have them 8th at 4%.
Okay. So we have them, all things considered, pretty middle of the road.
Yeah.
Let's try it. And again, stack score, we have them basically, they're right in the middle with like 10 other teams. All right, how do you want to do this? Do you want to start with Seattle bats or you want to start with pitching?
Let's start with Seattle bats. Let's get them in.
All right. Einsteinium said Tyler Anderson's been pretty good this season. Is his price the reason he isn't getting any ownership? The thing about Tyler Anderson is I don't know. He's like, this guy's an anomaly in a sense. there's very little reason he should be as good as he's been. Um,
I have him as basically the worst pitcher today.
That's the problem. Plus, in Kansas, it's not a great spot. But yeah, to your point, Einsteinium, if he were like 6,800 or 7K, you'd probably see a little bit of him. He doesn't look great though. All right. All right, let's go Seattle bats here.
All right. Cal Raleigh, in at catcher.
And by the way, a good homer park too.
Yeah, a very, very good one. I think we got to do Jorge Polanco in at second.
Wind's blowing out at 10 miles per hour, by the way.
I don't think this one will catch you off guard, but we're going to put Julio Rodriguez in. I would also like to put in
Rodriguez, Raleigh, and who else?
Rodriguez, Raleigh, Polanco.
Okay.
And then, I don't know, probably a Rosarena. Like, if you're going to do this, you kind of got to do it. Where's he hiding? There he is. Now, for the fifth guy, I mean, to me, it's probably Luke Raley.
At first?
Or at outfield, I don't really care too much, but he's got power. It's lefty righty. Do I prefer him over who?
Victor Robles?
I do.
Okay.
I do. So much more power, and you're getting the lefty righty split. And Raley is only $200 cheaper.
Let's play him at first.
Okay. Here's what we'll do. You play him at first. I want to check him out at outfield.
All right, let's see where we go with that. All right, so this gives us 5,600 per player. And by the way, guys, this is the single lineup sim. It's going to be, it actually is essentially ready for football as well. So very excited about that. I was just building lineups out on it the other day. We have it with just like a week 13 slate from last year, Josh, just to test it and get the bugs out and everything.
Yeah.
But it's awesome. It's going to be so good.
It's so good for NFL.
It's going to be perfect for NFL. Building stacks out, but like, running the secondary stacks, skinny stacks and all that. Oh, it's going to be great. All right. So do you want to go with one of Wheeler or Reagan's? I assume in your case, it would be Wheeler.
I want to go with Robbie Ray.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he is very clearly the best option.
If you threw Wheeler in there after that, you have $3,400 remaining. I'm tempted to try somebody cheaper.
Well, I went to 7,800, or do you want to go cheaper than that?
Who'd you go to? Pavetta?
I did.
Yeah, I'm not going to go Pavetta here. I don't mind.
I don't blame you. I got to 45%. Large contest, 25% to first, by the way, Jordan.
Did you build a lineup out?
I did.
Oh, what do you have remaining at first, third? What was it?
I went 3-man twin stack, Santana, Royce Lewis, Kyle Farmer.
And what did it come out as?
45.
Okay. All right. Toronto's interesting to me against Carson Spires. They look pretty good in our tools. See if I'm able to.
You said Toronto?
Yeah, the problem is nobody really great here at third base or shortstop. Yeah, that's tough.
Let me see what I have, if I have any pieces of Seattle with Toronto.
It might be a Tampa stack day against Joey Estes.
I got a lot more of those. Were you just looking at Spires?
Yeah.
Yeah, but my best Seattle Tampa lineup is Reagan Spires.
I was talking about the Blue Jays against them now.
Oh. Well, then that's different.
Slightly different. Tampa kind of fits just because they're cheap. Second highest value score in the top stack tool. God, what a weird, difficult slate.
It is, man. You know what I honestly don't hate, and we haven't said it at all, but I'd like to I think this is the way that we should fill this out. This feels like a really good game stack. Should the other three pieces come from the Dodgers? Like, we got to remember, this is Bryce Miller not in Seattle, in a much, much, much worse spot.
I do actually, yeah. Can we do it though?
I think he could probably get a pretty easy 2-man for the Dodgers.
You know what? I'm 100% on board with this. I was trying Wheeler and Ray, but I'm gonna axe that. I'm gonna try, instead of Wheeler Ray, what I'm actually gonna do is Wheeler and then a cheaper pitcher. I think I'm gonna try Wheeler Estes. You know what? I am.
Oh,
That
dude,
gets me...
I think I am coming up to the niggity nuts. Oh no, I'm not. I'm not gonna have enough salary to play hitter or to play any pitchers.
Yeah, that's why you're about to have the nuts.
Oh God. Okay, so the best that I can do for a pitcher here is probably going to be Javier Assad.
Dude, these Dodgers are expensive.
They really are. Well, I got 2,800 left for a shortstop, so it's not going to be Miguel Rojas. And it's not going to be anybody from the Mariners. So I need a $2,800 shortstop.
I don't see any way I can make this. What?
I'm really excited to click run on this.
Wait, you need a $2,800 short. Did you put Muncy and Teoscar in?
I put Muncy and Freeman in.
Oh, okay, because I have 2,800 at shortstop too.
All right, I got mine. Ray Assad, Raleigh, Polanco, Rodriguez, Arozarena, Raley for Seattle. Freeman, Muncy, and then a one-off Taylor Walls because that's the best shortstop option I have under 2,800.
Yeah, that's what we have projected.
No one owns this lineup. It's Ray and nobody else. So it either projects too low and I need to figure out where to go, or I'm going to love it.
My guess is it doesn't work.
29.6. There's something there.
Oh, wow. It's actually positive.
There's something there for sure. I mean, I'm more than okay getting Freeman and Muncy in LA against Bryce Miller on the road. Like, I don't mind grabbing those two dudes at all.
It's better than I thought it would be.
If I take Walls out, I just don't have a natural Mariner to get out of here. What if I take Arozarena out and we get Dylan Moore in at short? 3,800. That then gives me 3,600 for a one-off outfielder, which should be a way better bat than the bullshit that I was pulling before. Because any $3,600 outfielder, like, you're going to find a really good one. If you're down to a $2,600 shortstop, you're probably finding one of the worst hitters in baseball.
I might have something here.
All right, 3,600. Best shortstop I have best outfielder I have at 3,600 today is Brian De La Cruz. Yeah, I don't think this one's going to be any better than what I just trotted out there.
I'm waiting
on mine. More and more, I'm looking at this and thinking, Mariners Dodgers game stack. Oh yeah, this one hit 0 on the dot.
Mine's at 3.7. Mariners Dodgers game stack. What if we just tried to do it with two cheaper pitchers?
I think we're going to fail by not using Ray.
You're probably right, just because of that price and the projection.
He's just, I mean, we got him at, 2.12 value. It's the second best, or third best, but basically him, Wheeler, and Reagans are all the same point per dollar value. Your only other shot of finding that value based on our projections is either Bradford, Pavetta, or Estes. Like, if I go Estes Ray, now I have 4,200 for an outfielder.
I did Estes Ray, as a matter of fact.
Did you? Okay. And then Dalton Varsho. 300 left over. Yeah, I don't think I'm cracking the code here. I can't get the projection high enough.
That's the problem I'm having as well. It's
I
like, all
think
right, yeah,
Max Muncy and Dylan Moore are causing me some issues there, I think. We do not have Max Muncy projected well.
I know. And I
I
think
mean,
that's
I don't
one of
either, if that helps. That wasn't a...
and even like with Seattle, if you wanted to go third base, it's an 8 or 9 hole hitter, so that's difficult. So third base is the tough one. Third base is going to make things kind of tricky for sure. Unless you just do like a 5-2-1.
Now
There's just no way you're
now I'm on the path of a 5-1-1-1.
okay. There's just no way you're getting a quality 5-man Dodger stack today.
No. Oh, I'm in no man's land for a random shortstop.
The shortstop is going to get you.
All right, 5K third baseman. This stuff. And I think that's a testament to the slate too. Like, I don't think this is a good slate.
Oh, there's no 2K third baseman that I could have used. Shocking. No, it's tough.
I just keep landing in this like 0 to 20% ROI range.
Me too. Jordan, go to the Sims real quick and go to sort by the top lineups. I just want to see what some of these look like right now.
Yeah, I'm dead in the water at around 11 with this Seattle stack.
I try not to cheat by looking at this unless I'm out of options. You know?
I hear you.
Oh, no wonder. Like Cubs, Pittsburgh, Tampa Bay, Philly. I'm not surprised by any of this though.
Pittsburgh is a team I have.
That first one is a Reagan's Robbie Ray lineup.
Okay. Man, I don't want to look at the Pirates, but I feel like I should. I mean, the Tigers are my most exposed team. I should figure out what that looks like.
Jordan, go to exposures and stack exposures before we get out of here. Damn, it's 12:10. We gotta go.
Sure do.
And just
Hot Chopper Live coming up next.
Check it out. Josh's Twitter, Odd Shopper Twitter. Hit me up at Lafayette_D as well.
I'm gonna run my number 1 lineup and see how it comes out, and then we can get out of here.
Tampa Bay is up there. I do understand that. I mean, they're a disgusting team, but there's good value there. They're discounted. Joey Estes has been good at home, but it's still Joey Estes. Like there's just not a lot to worry about there. So I get it. Kansas City against Tyler Anderson, Toronto against Carson Spires, San Francisco, Chicago, Cubs, Philly. But it kind of just falls off a cliff thereafter. So that's what we're working with, man.
Yeah.
Generally,
everybody on the Tigers feels like a made up person.
I think we would honestly need more time to build these lineups out in the single lineup sim and figure out what looks good or not on a 13 gamer like today.
I'm testing my number 1 lineup, and then we can get out of here. Ray Reagans, 5-man Tigers, 3-man Astros, Diaz, Altuve, Alvarez. But when I got to the Trey Sweeney, Parker Meadows setup, I was just like, they are replacement by 55%.
That's nice.
Yeah.
And you got Reagans and Ray. That's going to make a difference, I think. I think like when you're running these, you're going to end up with a lot of Bradford, Ray, Reagans, Buehler.
Yeah. Tigers, Royals,
well.
Tigers, Astros are 2 of my top 6.
Like I bet if I ran a Reagans Ray or Wheeler Ray 5-man Tampa stack right now. What's up?
Just looking at some of these lineups and how disgusting they are.
I bet if I ran a 5-man Rays with Reagans and Ray, how cheap are the Rays?
To me, pretty cheap.
All right.
I have a Tigers 5-man with Fede, Cody Bradford, and the 3 one-offs are Ohtani, Altuve, and Royce Lewis.
Oh, all right.
Okay, so you said you wanted to look at Tampa, right?
Yeah, we'll do that later. Appreciate you guys hanging out. We will, Josh has got Odd Shopper live. We got live before lock tonight. I believe Eric and Matt Bellman. Shout out to Jordan for producing this one. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Probably a live before lock for the early slate. If not, we'll see you back here at 11 Eastern for the main. I haven't looked yet, but hey, have a great rest of the day. We'll catch you back here on the Strategy Show tomorrow morning. Peace.